Look, this is a deeply disturbing ruling because I think that the Fourth Circuit just got it completely wrong. We know that in America, there have been separation on the basis of sports for a very long time. People know about Title IX and the effort to try to afford equal opportunities to women. And what the West Virginia legislature did is say that there will continue to be that separation, but that the distinction will be drawn on the basis of sex, that how you are born will dictate the sports and in terms of the participation with whether you're a male or whether you're a female. And what this court did is actually blur the distinctions and try to come up with a new provision that's not included in any of the laws. This law that West Virginia passed is absolutely consistent with Title IX. It helps to protect our young women, to give them the opportunities. It's fair and it's just. And I am very hopeful as we go up higher in the process, we're going to prevail. We had prevailed at the district court level after we submitted 3,000 pages of evidence, after we submitted many docket entries, because people realized, yes, at the early stages, regardless of what happens with puberty blockers, men on average are stronger and faster, and they can compete more effectively. And for the court to rule this way, I think is a terrible decision. But we're fighting. We're going to push back. And I think that justice will prevail in the end.
And of course, you've said multiple times and just now that despite the court's decision, the ban will remain in place and you will continue to keep fighting. How do you plan on doing that, though, if these judges continue to make rulings like these?
Look, I mean, sometimes you have courts where there are various appointments and they tend to move in a much different direction than the rest of the country. We found that the Supreme Court can rule on these issues, and we think that they're going to rule fairly on it. You just saw what happened out in Idaho with respect to trans surgery and allowing that law to go through. I'm very hopeful that when they look at the West Virginia law, they're going to see that this law was not passed out of animus. It was passed to try to provide meaningful opportunities for women. And I think when you have a male participating in a sport with females, there's a massive amount of displacement. It's unfair, and it's really causing females to lose their opportunity to shine.
Right.
So I think when the Supreme Court ultimately hears it, we're definitely going to prevail.
I think so, too. And I think the part of this that doesn't get talked about because it's uncomfortable is the amount of women that are being injured by men that are playing in women's sports. And they're these big brutes. It's a little different with swimming. But when you look at other sports, especially a sport like basketball, all the way down through high school, girls are getting injured by men who claim they're women who are playing women's sports. I want to just play you the soundbite from Dawn Staley. So she's the head coach over at the University of South Carolina, national champions. Here's what she had to say right before the national championship game about men possibly playing in women's NCAA basketball.
If you're a woman, you should play. If you consider yourself a woman and you want to play sports or vice versa, you should be able to play. That's my opinion.
Okay. Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that.
I think that if Americans begin to focus on the fact that when you start to have these hulking males participating in these sports or wandering around locker rooms, there's something fundamentally wrong with that. There's a reason why Title IX was passed. It's because members of Congress thought there should be equal opportunity for women. When you start to have these males who are not competing at all in their own categories try to cross over, that's a very significant problem. And I think the implications of this case go far beyond sports. They go to the locker rooms, they go to the changing rooms. And I think that's why this is so important. We step up and fight, because hulking males don't belong in women's locker rooms or sports. Men are different than women, and no one should be afraid to say that.